Hello everyone, I'm CoolGuy. Welcome back. I would like to take a second starting here today with this video. The goal of it is going to be gathering what I think will improve Destiny 2, and then we can talk about it. Importantly, with what I say, why it will and will not work. Because the community has a powerful voice, and whether you believe it or not, we do have some influence on what happens and what they do. It may not feel like it at times, but we do. And for a long time, there's been a lot of negativity around Destiny, and generally when I talk about the game, I get my feedback called as I see it, and then I move on. I want to get back to doing guides. I want to talk about gear. I want to talk about trials. That's what's fun for me. I have a Crucible tip video that I can't do because everything's going to change. It would be pointless. In its current state, that guide wouldn't have the depth I want it to have. Now, I might end up doing it later on if, in the end, this is actually how the game is going to be. But I make these videos because I like doing them. Most importantly, for players who like the game, they have a place to go to talk about it, to learn about it. I want to be there for them. So here's where I'm at. With the changes they talk about in the dev update, I like a lot of what I see. But here's something that you need to understand. Myself and a lot of other content creators, we would rather be positive in nature and optimistic than destructively toxic. I understand criticism, but you have to put your thoughts in very clearly and fully. Because if you're great, you attract greatness. If you're average, you attract average. And if you're toxic, you attract toxicity. Think about that statement. I happen to think that we're pretty great over here. I try to be. So let's go ahead and come to a conclusion real quick. The game isn't in the best spot right now. Let's establish that. Let's get it out of the way. Other content creators are making videos or have made videos about this. So we're talking True Vanguard, Holtzman, Rick Cacus, Houndish, Bife. They've made videos. I encourage other ones to do the same, even if you've already done it before, because I want to fully do my part here. And I want to do my part so in the future I can look back and say, you know what, I did everything I needed to do. No matter what happens, good or bad, I did everything that I needed to do. There was no gray area, just black and white. Because there's a lot of problems with Destiny 2, and you know what they say about problems? Problems are just opportunities that haven't presented themselves yet. So through this series, I want to jump in between PvP, PvE, balance classes, all of it. And today I want to talk about TTK, time to kill, and weapon balance. And we're going to tie them together, and it's okay if you disagree with me. Drive conversation, man. I would like for you to tell me why, and let's talk about it. First, TTK, or time to kill. I think changing this is going to improve Destiny 2. The main issue with PvP is how slow it plays. There's a lot wrong with it, but at the root, it's painfully slow. You get into an engagement, you have this waiting, shooting, waiting period. When you're waiting to get your health back, your recovery. That's what the game has become. There's no real punishment for sitting back with a scout rifle. No real punishment for missing shots in a duel. And I say this for a number of reasons. I mean, using Destiny Tracker in Destiny 1, I had over 200,000 PvP kills, 12,000 games played over the course of 3 years. We had maps like Widow's Court, bigger maps, 6v6, larger scale. We had Twilight Gap with longer sightlines. My average kill distance in that was 17 meters. Now in Destiny 2, my average kill distance is 20.5. Now that's kind of a weird stat to look at, but for me it tells me that my engagements are a tad longer. They felt longer, they are longer. And this is something you look up yourself. It's kind of weird, but you have maps like the Cliffs and Midtown. Lots of players just sit back and they play that game. And I don't really blame them. It's effective. It's hard to continuously punish that though. And when you do push them, they have out their anti-opes at that point, their last hopes. That's very, very dry. The time to kill plays into that. So there's a relation between shots to kill, damage dealt, distance, RPM, impact. All of those relationships are important. It gets to your time to kill. Here's something I want you to think about. Mida was a 4-shot kill in Destiny 1. It's a 5-shot kill in Destiny 2. How many times in Destiny 2 would you have ended the fight with 4 shots? That extra shot allows players to get into cover, especially at distances. I mean, it happens to me too. I mean, I'll have some bad shots. The gunfight takes such a long time. I just stop, reset, get behind cover, get my health back, and then we go again. Now, the hand cannons of Destiny 1 were a 3-shot kill. Now it's a 4-shot. So with that, you've lost your ability to go from target to target effectively, and now your magazine starts playing into everything. And now that that time to kill is so long for some weapons, it's kind of relaxed, allowing you to land 50% headshot, 50% body shot to achieve that required time to kill. Then that starts getting into skill gap, like it goes on and on. I mean, we're talking about weapons in Destiny 2 with over a 2-second body kill time. Like, what are we doing over here? So what I'm really getting at is to this. A 0.86 to 1.07 kill time is ideal for Destiny 2, in my opinion. That 0.86 is the kill time for popular hand cannons in Destiny 1. The 1.07 kill time is from the 450 ARs from Destiny 2, like Uriel's Gift, Positive Outlook. Now the 450 ARs, it's a great average baseline to go off of, because ARs are simple, they are forgiving. You start missing your shots against it, the 450s will mow you down. There's a lot that they need to cut back. The Mida needs to go back to a 4-shot kill, in my opinion. TTK is huge for game flow and skill gap. The time to kill needs to be faster across the board. It's what makes Destiny. They've set up a game that is so balanced it has essentially destroyed what makes Destiny Destiny. And as someone who really digs getting into weapons, as someone who really loves to review them and learn about them and talk about them, there's a horrible truth about Destiny 2. When you look at your main weapons, your scouts, ARs, hand cannons, pulses, each one of those have RPM classes, right? And a whole bunch of weapons in between. Now, out of all of those weapons, there are actually 16 total weapons. That's it. Again, each one has 4 subcategories. Like, let's take scout rifles. It has 4 RPM categories: 150 high impact, 180 precision, lightweight 200, rapid fire 260s. Each one of them has a number of weapons in each RPM class. So let's take the 180s. They have 7 total scouts in there. We have the Tango 45, Nameless Midnight, Call to Serve. There are 7. But the base stats are so close together and the middle perks are not giving you that drastic change. Then you start looking at the last perk. Okay, this one has triple tap. Okay, this one has explosive rounds. This one has firefly. Essentially, what you have here is a Disc 43 from Destiny 1. You have one weapon. You have a Disc 43 reskinned and rolled 7 times. Whether you, the player, or the developer wants to believe that, that's the truth. That's the truth because, again, they made the game so balanced that the main stats are so minimally different, they've lost all variety in the game. That's a huge issue in Destiny. That ties into time to kill. Everything pretty much handles the exact same in a given archetype. But you know what would change that? Imagine having one of these with hand-laid stock. And then reducing your range, a whole bunch of stability, or small bore, rangefinder, spray and play, luck in the chamber. That's when you start getting glaring differences. Since before the game came out, I said that the only way for fixed roles to work, the only way is if you have hundreds upon hundreds of weapons in the game. You have to. Now that the dust is settled, it's obvious Bungie can't do that or they won't do that. So you gotta change it. What's in the game right now is not working. We are here now. If it was working, we wouldn't be talking about it. That's how important Mods 2.0 is going to be to the game. Mods 2.0 has to affect this. Then there are talks about random roles possibly returning. Now that's speculation. I'm all about that. I've thought about this for a while. There are a lot of things Destiny 2 did correctly. There are a lot of things Destiny 2 improved on from Destiny 1. Don't forget about those. But the main argument is, well, with all these dev updates, you're just turning the game into Destiny 1. To that I say this. It's not more or less turning the game back into Destiny 1, it's more about making the game return to Destiny. First and foremost, get the game back to playing like Destiny DNA, what makes the game. They cut down the ability spam, things like one-shot sticky grenades in Destiny 2, so getting back to these faster times to kill, getting back to a place like or similar to Destiny 1 is the direction the game needs to go. That's my stance. More variety in the weapons, especially mid-tree perks like hand-laid stock, small bore, hand-loaded, even including things like luck in the chamber. Now, I'm not totally against that, that's up for debate, but those things give variety. Those things give the player a reason to grind for a weapon. Those things affect the big relationships, damage dealt, distance, things like that. So for my feedback, for any changes that they're working on, the big changes that they presented in the dev update, you have to look at the core of the game. The time to kill needs to be quicker. The weapons need to have a lot more variety. For everything I've talked about today, here's why those two things would work. TTK and essentially random rolls again, for one. It would give variety in a looter shooter. Now the loot is the main draw. When you have 7 weapons in an RPM class that all handle like one weapon with small minimal changes, you have an issue. You take away that feeling of individualism. You need to drastically change from one weapon to the next with weight to it. Say we add in like small bore in that middle tree or hand-laid stock. You get a lot of stability and you're super accurate, but you lose out on that range, or vice versa. Give the player that choice again. If not, go ahead and make about 20 new weapons for each RPM class for each weapon type. That would be a decent start, at least 20 per RPM per weapon type. And making the time to kill faster, that would make the game flow a lot better and get back to what makes Destiny Destiny. What they're trying to do right now is set up for like a competitive experience. That's the core. It doesn't really play like that though, especially with how bland they made the weapons. It's not fun to watch and it's completely gutted the PvE side. If a game is meant for everyone, it's a game meant for no one, if that makes any sense. So speeding it up needs to happen. But here's why none of this would work at all. They have to, from the top down, rework everything. Earlier when I was talking about that 0.86 kill time from hand cannons in Destiny 1, that time is tied to shot delay. It's how long it takes 3 shots to get out. So the damage dealt was 86 to the head, but in reality it doesn't really matter exactly what the damage is in Destiny 2 as long as it sums up to an overall chance at a 3-shot kill. So you do that for the 200 scout class, the 180 scout class. That is a lot of work, but it's almost necessary. It's things like that that's going to make the time to kill faster. Now, these two things are what I want to talk about first. These two things are the most important in my opinion, because if both of them aren't done, the game won't feel any different. Whatever the sandbox team comes up with, it won't change the core of the game if they don't address these two things. Like, it would be completely worthless if they went for one and didn't do the other. It has to be both. Because you can't have a new elaborate mod system and then have some weapons having over a 2-second body kill time. You just can't. You can't have a fast time to kill with these bland, minimally different weapons. It just won't work. It needs to be both, and I stand firm on that. And that's a huge, huge thing to ask for, but the entire longevity of the game depends on it. Now it's your time. The community does have a powerful voice. It may not seem like it at times, but we do have influence. Let us know in the comment section what you think about this. Again, it doesn't really matter what was done or what should have been done. Let's establish that. We're beyond that. Let's do our part now moving forward. Thank you guys for watching. Please remember to rate the video, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.